Half a day and welcome to KUAM News Extra. I'm Joan Aguon Charfauros, filling in for Andy Wheeler. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have a great show coming up today. One of the things I love about Guam is our local businesses and how they always step up and, help out and assist the community in their times of need. And Triple J Enterprises is definitely one of them. And so I'm so excited to have three lovely ladies joining me today. I have Tina Esteves from Triple J, the marketing manager. I have, and I also have the daughter and granddaughter of the late Margaret Jones. I'm so honored that they are joining us as well in this interview. I have Julie Jones Murrell and Jessica Jones Madrid. Half a day, ladies.
Half a day.
Half a day.
Well, first off, thank you so much for taking the time out to sit and chat with me. I was excited about doing this interview because, being in news for close to a decade, I know that Triple J Enterprises has been one of the businesses that has and continues to assist the community during times of need, and especially now during this COVID chaos. It's even more amazing to see like businesses coming out and assisting the community. I first wanted to talk about the projects that you have going on, especially during this time. And we'll definitely get into like the drive, the motivation, and the inspiration behind the efforts that Triple J Enterprises does. I wanted to kind of touch first on the Operation Barbecue Relief, which is one of the projects I know recently took place. Tina, if you wanted to kind of jump in and kind of explain, I guess, the concept and how it, the turnout was.
Yeah, so actually we are going to, the barbecue, the drive-through barbecue that we put on just a couple of weeks ago. 2 weeks ago was Outback Steakhouse, and then this past week was Red Lobster. So Triple J's philosophy has always been customers first, and it's ingrained in our DNA that we always give back to our community. So in this current pandemic time that we're living through right now, it kind of just heightened our need and our want to give back to the community that we serve as a company. So when things were happening, and it actually since the beginning, since March, we've partnered with many different organizations to give back. We've given back to healthcare workers, frontline workers as well. The Manamku, we partnered up with Kudu Cares back then. So we just wanted to continue that trend, right, and let them know that we're still here for the community, and we're all working together to get through these unprecedented times. So that was kind of the idea behind the barbecue giving back. The Red Lobster and Outback Steakhouse teams wanted to do something more. They wanted to join forces, and it was buy a plate and give a plate. So what it was is you would come through and you would buy a barbecue plate and you would support the cause, and then we would feed the healthcare workers at the different facilities, just to let them know that we care, that we thank them for all their hard work and being out there in the front lines and helping to protect our community. So that was the start of the barbecue. But this is all part of a bigger project that I want Jessica and Julie to talk about, because it was more than just the barbecue. It was a huge thing it's very, very dear to Mrs. Jones.
Jessica, or even Julie, if there's something that you wanted to say about because I know that like you were mentioning, Tina, like the driving force and the just the whole idea of helping the community, the motivation was from Mrs. Jones, and I didn't have the privilege of meeting her in person, but I can tell you that from friends and coworkers, they have nothing but the sweetest things to say about her, and it just speaks to the woman she was.
Definitely, and I'm getting teary-eyed. Sorry.
Kind of, I think one way that this evolved as far as the, well, we're calling it the Mema Project, was as far as placing the red hearts around GMH and GRMC was just, I actually saw this on TikTok that the Vancouver Island in Canada was doing this around their hospitals. And for a long time now, weeks and weeks, I've been thinking like, you know, what could we do to encourage the hospital staff? You know, I knew that my mom would want us to do something, and my mom had care there, was taken care of at GMH several times. And, you know, from the hospital doctors to the nursing staff to the maintenance people that would come into her room, she always had excellent care there. And she had care in other places, you know, on the East Coast, you know, big name hospitals, but really the care she had at GMH over the years, and especially one time in particular when she was very ill, was, you know, it was just as good, if not better, than the care that she got in other places. And I knew that, you know, she would want something done, especially when the hospital started to fill up. And we were getting the reports about how many were in the ICU. And then when we started having more and more deaths, I think that's when I was really burdened to, you know, try to do something that the staff would at least know, because you feel pretty helpless, you know, out in the community when you're not a medical provider yourself. You feel pretty helpless as far as what can you do. So I just thought, you know, what would mom want us to do? And I thought, well, she would want them to know that they're very appreciated, that, you know, the community's behind them, that we might not completely understand all of their struggles, but we support them and we do appreciate them. And so I thought maybe something that they could just see driving in and out of the hospital parking lot, you know, maybe that would be encouraging to them and let them know that they're not forgotten. And so that's kind of how it evolved. My mom was a pink lady since she was in her 20s when she arrived on Guam and had me. I was very, very young when I came here, and then had my brother, who's Jessica's dad, after she arrived here. He was born at GMH. Jessica was born at GMH. And then, you know, in her 20s, she was part of this group of a very small group of women who started the Guam Memorial Hospital Volunteers Association and the Pink Ladies, you know, as they're known. And she continued a relationship, you know, with that organization, you know, for the rest of her life, basically. So I knew she would want us to do something, you know. So that's how the Mema Project started. Mema is the name all the grandchildren call my mom, so.
I was going to ask that too.
Yeah.
And Jessica, what do you think of, I'm sure you've heard just the impact and the all the good things that, you know, your grandmother, you know, has done for GMH and for all the organizations she was also involved with, and hearing like the good things about her. I mean, I'm sure I'm sure have like some great stories too, growing up and you know, having her as a grandmother, or Mema.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we can look back at, you know, Triple J, and like charitable giving has always been really important to Triple J, but you can see that it's become really at the forefront since Mema's passing, just in an effort to really honor her legacy, because that's always been something that people could see about her. She was always just very generous and very giving, and that was something that, you know, when you stand in the receiving line at a funeral and people say, you know, 1,000 things to you, but that was just like, it's over and over, you know, they're just like, she was just so kind and so giving and so caring. But that just comes up as like, she really gave of like her time. That was just something that she really was just like, let me give of my time and of myself. And especially in a time where right now it's hard to know how to help people. We don't really know what to do. You know, they say like, okay, well, stay home. That's how you can help. And that's true. But at the same time, you're kind of like, what else can I do? You know, like it's hard, but even just, you know, trying to be encouraging. I think that's something that Triple J wants to give back to, aside from just like the meals and things like that. And even with Mema, something that's been on my mind recently is that I have thought a lot about how it would be different for our family now if Mema was still alive, because it would be such a weight on me to not be able to see her. Because I know that, there are people who can't see their grandparents or who live with them, and so they have to be super aware of who they go and who they see just to, keep them safe. And now it makes me much more aware of who I go and who I see, just because, my grandmother's not here anymore, but it's like there are a lot of people's grandmothers are. And so I kind of think about that in my day-to-day, because I do wish she was. And so I think when we think about like, how can we give back, we really want to protect, our culture on Guam is so heavily entrenched in our Manunko and our grandparents. And it's so important that we want to protect them and care for them. I think Triple J really, we really see that in the way we want to care for our community and thank the people, our healthcare heroes who are protecting those people.
And have you, when you present the food, the food plates, and when they're heading to work and they see the hearts, lining up as they head into the parking lot, I mean, have you heard, or do any of them kind of express to you how much of an impact that makes, especially working tirelessly hours at a, in a day, and not being able to see their family because they're putting in their hours at the hospital?
Definitely. I mean, we, first of all, Joan, for the barbecue for a cause, that was the events that we held. We received an overwhelming response from the community. For one example, Outback Steakhouse, the day that we announced that we were doing this to give back to the community, our phones were ringing off the hook. Everybody wants to give, and we just, it's such as Jessica and Julie mentioned, it's at different times. We don't know exactly how. It's not like we've ever been through this situation before. It's new to everyone in our community. So, there's always that uncertainty of how we want to come together as a community and how we're going to do it. So it was an overwhelming response. We actually sold out of the plates that first, during the Outback Steakhouse. We were supposed to be out there from 4 to 7. We were sold out by 6. So it was great. And it just showed you the heart of our community. And it shows that no matter, we just have to pull together. And I think we are doing it. And as Jessica mentioned, she said she's concerned about everybody in the community, not just, your grandparents or yourself. It's the community as a whole. You want to make sure that you're doing your part. So as Triple J, we want to make sure that we do our part to let the community know that we care. And so for Red Lobster, the same thing. I mean, we pushed, and it was just another overwhelming response. We received a lot of messages on our Facebook page and our Instagram pages, basically thanking us for doing this. And then also GMH and GRMC, they posted on their pages. I mean, so it's basically not about the appreciation that we receive, but it's about what we give and who we give it to and how we give it in the community, and pulling together, I think, as a whole. And it speaks volume about our culture too, and our island. So I think that's the response we received, and I think and it was wonderful. It was very, very heartwarming to go through. And again, like the Mema Project, I mean, Mrs. Jones was a big giver. I worked here for 8 years, and since the day that I started, I mean, she was always in our office, and she's such a lovely lady, and she'd just come in and she's like, I would like to do this for this, and this for the Pink Ladies, and this for Pan Am. And she was just so giving all the time, and such a wonderfully nice lady, always wanting to do something. So it was a pleasure to have spent that time that I did with her.
In regard to the staff and the employees at Triple J, do they see it as, when you're doing these projects, like Jessica was leading to, it's no longer, it's, when some people feel like they're forced to do it, but they want, I mean, it's in them. They want to help and do what they can for the community, and especially like the healthcare workers. Do you see that it helps to to really bring the team closer together when in doing these things too?
Absolutely. Our culture or our island culture is, we are always together. I mean, let's face it. I mean, we struggle with the separation, social distancing, because we're so used to always camaraderie and being together and hanging out and stuff like that. So, I mean, it was no doubt, like no question, they had no hesitation about pulling together to do this. It's in our nature, and I can't stress that enough. I mean, we are a resilient people on a resilient island, and we just kind of we pull together when something needs to happen. Definitely, our staff has been wonderful. I mean, it was an opportunity for them to do something. Like I mentioned earlier, it's kind of unprecedented times. People don't know exactly how they're supposed to act. So doing something like this and letting them know, hey, it's okay if we do this together, and they were on it. They were all for it. They were here full force and excited to give back, excited to be part of this project.
And I think it's important to, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think it's important to have things like that, like Tina's saying, to be excited about, because at this point, we have been in this for a long time. And I remember in March when, we're kind of like, okay, flatten the curve. And then, we hit like July and we're like, okay, maybe August, and now it's September, it's gonna be October, and we need things to be excited about. And it's really encouraging when we have, businesses that create, they create opportunities for the community to come together while still being safe and while still, following the guidelines that we need to follow, but still supporting those who are working in healthcare, but feeling like they're able to do something. I think it's important. And I'm thankful that Triple J gets to do that, because it does, like Tina said, it's something that's kind of exciting. Like, you get to participate in something, even if it's not maybe as much as we used to, but it's still something.
Julie?
Yeah, when Tina was speaking, I was thinking about how, whether it's Relay for Life or whatever our company's doing, to help out others in the community, our staff always has such a huge presence, and there's a lot of hours, volunteer hours, in what they do. And this, this cause is no different. The barbecue for a cause and for raising money to give plates of food, to GMH staff. And I was just thinking too that, when I was thinking about this project with the Red Hearts, I really wasn't even thinking, it's really nice that you're having us on here and stuff. That I like, it's nice that we're being able to talk about it, but I wasn't really thinking, I was just thinking about putting the hearts. I wasn't really thinking that, we would publicize it even, because I was just thinking, what should we do? What can we do? What would Mema want us to do? So, and I heard an interview, I think it's a nurse there, and I think it circulated on Facebook and some other, I think it's kind of a PSA, but about keeping safe and keeping your family safe. And one of the nurses that did the interview, or made the PSA, I wish I could remember her name, but she made a comment that really struck me. And she said, we're not the frontliners, we're the last line of defense. And I thought that's really true. When your family member goes to the hospital, that's their last line of defense to survive this, they need to come back out of that hospital. And so the healthcare heroes there, that is the last line of defense, not really the first line of defense. We're counting on them. My understanding is, if you have a family member that goes to the hospital, you can't go there and be with them. Unlike many of us that were with parents and grandparents when they passed, it's going to be the hospital staff that is going to be there with your loved one. So that really made an impression on me. They are the last line of defense for our family members that are there and for this disease. And so that, that interview, I wish I could remember her name. I can't, but that, when she said that really resonated with me. And I thought, I really think that we need to make sure these people know how much we appreciate what they're doing. Yeah.
And are there upcoming is there a future Operation Barbecue for a Cause coming up? Is there something that, some things and projects in place that, seeing as we're still in this unprecedented time and we're gonna probably be in it for a while?
Yeah. Right now, we're actually working on putting the plan together to present the food to the hospital or to the healthcare workers or healthcare heroes. So that's what we're doing next. We don't have a firm date, but it'll be definitely real soon. Real soon. We just finished, like I said, Red Lobster's barbecue for a cause last week, Thursday. So we're speaking with the healthcare heroes. We're speaking with the organizers at the different locations to make sure that we, of course, follow the protocols and safety regulations, and we ensure that we're doing it properly. So that's in the works. It's funny because this time of year, we're normally planning for a huge, Triple J 5K events and stuff like that. So, and we're not, but Joan, rest assured that Triple J will continue to give back to the community. It may not be with 5,000 people in attendance, 6,000 people in attendance. It may just be with whoever's here at the office, but we will continue to give back. Like I said, because we it's in our nature, it's in our DNA as a company, and it's in the family's DNA. Starting from the top, starting from Mr. and Mrs. Jones, we're always giving back. So we don't know yet what we're going to do next, but we will definitely do something. We're in this together, all of us.
Yes, exactly. And I did mention that although I didn't have the opportunity to meet Mrs. Jones, I can say that I had the honor of writing her legislative resolution back in 2018 when she was the recipient of the Businesswoman of the Year Lifetime Achievement Award. Yeah. And so in putting together her resolution, you learn a lot about her, and she had to fill out a questionnaire so I could put together the resolution. And a couple of things had stood out, and believe it or not, I still had the write-up for her resolution. And she had, when she was asked about her noteworthy success, she said it was raising and educating her 3 children while growing a family business and also finding time to give back to the community in a way that demonstrated to our children the need for us to always be good corporate citizens. That was one of the things that really stood out to me when putting together her resolution. And another thing was her words of wisdom for professional women of today, where she was saying to work diligently at your chosen profession, but always save some time to find a worthy cause to be passionate about, and to make time for your family, because balance in this area of your life is of the utmost importance.
Definitely her. Yeah.
And yes. After hearing all of this, and then hearing from friends and coworkers, no doubt in my mind, she is an amazing woman, and obviously her legacy lives on in the efforts and the things that you continue to do for the community. Is there anything else that you wanted to get out to our viewers about whether with things coming up, or things that you want to get out to make it known to maybe like our healthcare workers, or anything like that?
I think we're all just trying not to cry. So
I think this is so beautiful. It really is. It really is to have these, like the Julie and Jessica on here. Joan, I think it's beautiful, and I think that again, like I said, her family, such a great family. All of the Joneses, from Mr. Jones all the way down to the youngest grandchild, has been nothing but supportive of our community and our employees, especially during this trying time. So it's I think it's great, and it's I also want to say that as other businesses, community on the island too, are pulling together. And I cannot stress it enough that it's our culture. It's the way that we live here on Guam. It's Guam. It's the Guamanian way. It's the Chamorro way, to always pull together when we are when we need to. So I just want to let everyone know that we're here. And we'll continue to do what we can for our community. Yeah, ladies, you have anything?
I just wanted to say that we put the signs up at the hospitals because that's primarily where I think a lot of the last defense, heroes are, or the frontliners. But I also want to recognize the nurses and doctors and staff at public health, because I know they have been working long hours. I don't know where they're doing the testing, running the test, and we know those people are working long hours, even at some of the clinics. I drive past SDA sometimes, or American Medical Center, and you see the tents outside for months now. So I just want to acknowledge that we understand that the healthcare heroes are not just at the 2 hospitals, even Navy Hospital. I mean, they're kind of all over the island. So just wanted to say thank you to anyone in the healthcare industry right now. Even those in the mental health care is kind of close to my heart because that's my field. So even those in the mental health care field, there's a lot of people out there who are hurting. There's a lot of people who, have lost jobs, and they have a lot of frustrations and a lot of worries. And so, I think even our mental health care, those people are heroes too, taking care of mental health care. So we do appreciate that.
I don't think any of us thought that we would be doing, things like this in memoriam, at this point in time for Mema. And that's been, difficult for all of us. But like I said before, it's been a good reminder to, hold those who are close to you, hold them close that you love. And I'm like, keep those that you love close to you. That's what I'm trying to say. But, and I think that Triple J's done a really excellent job of prioritizing that, even in a pandemic when things are very difficult. And I just applaud the staff and all of the difficult decisions that have had to be made, and that, just the spirit of Guam, it really resonates within not only Triple J, but all other businesses. And we've seen, we've seen many businesses that are struggling and those that have, gone out of business, but at the same time, we're still holding on. And I think that, like Tina said, that's really, it really demonstrates that Guam is so strong. And I think it's the community that holds us together. It's really this sense of family. And that's what we wanted to communicate with the Mema Project, is family, is that we're all family, and that the healthcare heroes are our family. And the reason why, we wanted to do this is to protect our family, especially those that are at risk, and those that are elderly. And so we want to say thank you. And I also want to say thank you to Triple J, because none of this would have been possible without all the people who work really hard there.
Well, thank you so much, Tina, Jessica, Julie, for taking the time out to sit down and talk story and tell us about the projects that Triple J is doing. And of course, it was truly a pleasure to just get a little insight of the amazing woman Mrs. Jones was. And again, thank you so much for sitting and talking with me about it.
Thank you, Joan.
Thank you, Joan. Thank you for taking the time.
And thank you for watching. Until then, adios.
Yes.